Okay, so far we've looked at process number 1, mash. Process number 2, fermentation. Let's check the next 2 processes out. But first, welcome back to Stillworks and Brewing. My name is Randy, and this is a channel that's all about home distillation and brewing. Okay, so we're on process number 3, and process number 3 is distillation. So what is distillation? Well, the short answer of distillation is, the very basic answer is, it's the separation of the alcohol and the water. Okay, the water, the flavor. You know, don't forget that water is where all your flavor at. You know, especially for bourbons and whiskeys and stuff like that, brandies. So in this case, the rules for distillation of making bourbon is that it cannot be distilled any higher than 160 proof. Why do they say that? Well, it's basically because, like I said, the water is where all your flavor is. So they don't want to go much higher than that because you're not bringing the flavor of that bourbon over into your distillate. Okay, that's the short answer. I mean, you think of it this way. At 160 proof, let's go to ABV at this time. 80% of alcohol, it would 160 proof, which is would be 80% alcohol and 20% water, right? And that water is where all that flavor is at. Alcohol, yeah, it has a taste, but it's almost tasteless. So that's where your flavor is at, 20%. All right. Okay, so that is the short answer of how well, wait a minute. Okay, process number 3. No, process number 4. I'm sorry. Process number 4 is aging. And I'm gonna say your brown spirits, your whiskeys, your bourbons, dark rums, anything that you age in wood. So bourbon is, the rules of bourbon is it needs to be aged in a new charred white oak. So us home distillers, how do we do this? Well, there's a couple different ways that home distillers can go with aging. Like I said a bunch of times before, we do what we want, right? So option number 1 is a mini barrel. Alright, so a mini barrel is, you know, you get them in different sizes. You know, like half a gallon, 1 gallon, whatever the case you want to do. That is one way of aging your spirits. A lot of times I use toasted white oak chips. And just in a quart jar, put the chips over in there, and we can age on the wood that way. Or you got toasted sticks and blocks. You know, you can toast them and then char them. You can put that into the spirit and let it age. The fastest way I've found is the chips, but sometimes faster is not better. Okay. The best tasting bourbon I had, it takes a while. It needs to age. It needs to mellow. It just needs, hey, like I said, patience. Patience is the hard thing in this hobby. My rule of thumb for the amount of wood, and this is just a rule of thumb I use, is 1/4 ounce per quart. And that's at the 80 proof. Yeah, 80 proof. And you can adjust that to your taste. If you like it woodier, you add more. If you don't want that much, you can use less. So that's all up to your personal preference. And the biggest tip anybody can give you is being patient. And that is the hardest thing to do, I've found. Alright. So I hope you got something out of this. I know you seasoned guys, you've been living all this for a long time. I'm just hoping maybe some of the newer guys or people just looking to get into this hobby, or yeah, I've said it a bunch of times. We all just like to talk this stuff. It interests us, you know. It's just interesting. So if you could have got maybe one thing out of it, hey, it was well worth our time, right? So I guess with that being said, there's just a couple more things I need to say. Hey, if you do get a chance and you like what you saw or heard, please hit that subscribe button. It is very important to us. It really helps us out a lot. Now, the last thing I got to say. Hey, thanks for stopping by, and we'll see you next time here on Stillworks and Brewing. Cheers, everybody.